This season marks a new beginning. New heights will be reached. New records will be broken. A new champion will be crowned. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. You're watching the premier American open wheel series on iRacing. The Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by First Medical Equipment starts now.
There is pressure because the second jewel of the Triple Crown, a full-length Indy 500, is just one race away in the future and hangs like the sword of Damocles. There is relief because the sharp edges of motorsport have been sheathed and stored in the past. Drivers must now focus on the matter at hand, 100 laps on a high-banked oval. Presented by First Medical Equipment, the Lionheart IndyCar Series comes to Michigan International Raceway for the Midwest Simulations 200. From the Wolverine State, hello and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel's Countdown to Green, presented by the Sim Pit. As cyberspace flows into your place over these next 15 streaming award-worthy minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to fully appreciate all the simulated Dallara IR18 action that will immediately follow as we count down to green for the Midwest Simulations 200. And here to do all of that is yours truly, Bill Soup Zahn, joined way up in the press box to bring you our words eye view by former real-world IndyCar driver Richie Hearn. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is the director, the doctor of pit topology himself, Amjad Yaman, and he's armed with cameras, located, aimed, zoomed, and focused by GSRC's camera guru, Dougie Beard. Now, if you were not with us last time, and shame on you if you weren't, you saw Adam Blocker dominate motorsport. The adrenaline driver picked up his second career win in just his 19th start. But Richie, HPP Simulations is famous for their pedal sets. But from what I've been told here at today's venue, the only pedal that's really going to matter is the one on the far right. Tell us about Michigan.
Yeah, thanks, Soup, and welcome, everybody. And folks, before I talk about the track, let me remind you that everything during the Countdown to Greens comes courtesy of its sponsor, the Sim Pit. The Sim Pit's an entertainment channel dedicated to sim racing. Its focus is to bring you the news, reviews, and information from around the world about sim racing hardware and software. It also focuses on what it takes to be a better sim racer with instructional video and the how-tos that'll help your performance on the virtual track. Check it out at thesimpit.com. And speaking of virtual tracks, let's talk about today's venue. We are at Michigan International Speedway, which is situated on 1,400 acres in the scenic Irish Hills of southeastern Michigan. It opened in 1968, and we're just 4 miles south of the village of Brooklyn. With nearby Detroit being home base for the U.S. car manufacturing, compared to most other tracks, Carnos always feel more pressure to succeed here. The 2-mile D-shaped oval has 18 degrees of banking, modest by NASCAR standards, but steep for the Indy cars. The track is noted for being wide and allowing for multiple racing lines. We'll probably see 3 or 4 grooves out there. But the best way to get an idea of what this place is really like, let's jump on board the GSRC car and take a lap around Michigan.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin around the Michigan International Speedway, my personal home track here in the GSRC IR18 IndyCar. Without further ado, here we go. So you see, for the money lap, for the qualifying lap, get it right down there to the apron. Don't let it drift all the way up to the wall. You're just going to be scrubbing speed. Bringing it right down here to that yellow line. Try not to hit that apron. The car will spin out in a heartbeat. Bringing it right out here. Bringing it a little bit out towards the fence. Maybe not come all the way out. Again, The name of the game is to not scrub speed. Down here into turn 3 once again, nothing different than 1 and 2. Bring it right down to the bottom. Don't let it come all the way up either. Come it right down there, drive straight from the apron. Watch the gravel there on the infield, across the line there. Now as the run moves on, and drive beyond even lap 2, you're going to see guys all over this Michigan International Speedway. Up here in about this third groove, I wouldn't go venture higher than that just because the car tends to wash out a little bit. But then here comes the defense maneuver. You're going to see, guys, this track is 4 or 5 lanes wide on the backstretch. You're going to have to block every single one of them if you're the leader. Down here into turn 3 again, letting it float up here. You can go a little bit higher than you can in 1 and 2. Let you really get a good rundown, sniff the draft of whoever's in front of you, try to set up a pass for turn 1, but across the line, and that's going to complete our track guide here around Michigan. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
A lap around Michigan, and the drivers hope to do well in today's Midwest Simulations 200 so they can move up in the point standings. Let's go ahead and look at those right now, starting with the first medical equipment Drivers' Championship that sees last season's Rookie of the Year, Andrew Kinsella, for Adrenaline Motorsports, leading in points and wins, but all 3 victories have come on ovals. But don't let that fool you. Habakech is far from feeble on twisty circuits, the proud owner of a pair of 3rds and a 5th. Loud Pedals Brian Yazek has a win at Phoenix, his only career win in 44 tries. Then you got this commentator. You know, we keep pounding this point home every countdown to green, but the man in 3rd, Jason Galvin, is going to be much closer to the lead after the halfway point in the season when drop races are accounted for. That said, the no-name driver needs to limit his poor results starting now. Galvin's no-name teammate, James Grahula, sits in 4th despite finishing no better than 5th this season. It's been hot and cold, north and south. Pick your contrast for the driver in 8th, Adam Blocker, along with a couple of wins, including last round's checker flag as Mosport. The Adrenaline driver owns finishes of 27th, 30th, and 32nd. Can you say drop races? And with only 1 top 10 in 8 attempts, Synergy Motorsports' Dan Guerin continues to tiptoe his way into contention, up a spot now into 9th. Let's go ahead and move over to the HPP Simulation Team Championship. In Canada, the rich got richer. Adrenaline Motorsports won the day with 152 points thanks to the efforts of Adam Blocker, who came home 1st, Adam Kinsella in 3rd, and Joe Brandt in 8th. 18 points back in 2nd was No Name Racing. Just 2 better on the day than Synergy Motorsports. Adrenaline, Synergy, and No Name hold stations in the top 3. 8-Ball Motorsports' Justin Weaver was 6th overall at Mosport, but because he was the only billiard ball on the Canadian felt, that team drops a spot to Controlled Chaos Racing, powered by Scott Bolster's 13th and Samuel Ryman's 16th. All right, Richie, we've gone over the driver and team standings, but I purposely avoided mentioning a few names, leaving those to you when we talk about the rookies.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll bring up the butt kicker Rookie of the Year standings here. We got Steven Larkamp, was 4th place last round, and he's leading those points by 81 markers. And right down there behind him is Justin Weaver, who's moved up 7 spots in the overall points, is now 2nd best of the rookies. Bart Workman fell 6 spots in the overall standings, and he's dropped down a spot to 3rd on the rookie chart. But it's close with those 2nd, 3rd, and 4th guys, only about 6 markers between the 3 of them.
And we talked about Andrew Kinsella winning this championship last season. It's a good indication, a forebearer of what you will, of what you can expect as we move over into season 7. And, you know, talk about all the seasons that we've had here. This is the 2nd season in the IndyCar Retro Series, considered the premier fixed setup racing league for the Dallara I-18 is the Lionheart IndyCar Series, and the sister series, the one we're in right now, it's pretty much the same thing here for the Lotus 79. And of course, every season honors the memory of the late Dan Weldon. Now I got some bad news for you folks, because they were, I guess, refurbishing the beakers or reworking the Bunsen burners in Professor Lugnut's laboratory. We have no setup corner for you today. So I knew we'd have this opportunity. I thought I'd research my booth mate's history here at Michigan. So the first thing, when I think about IndyCars, Richie, at Michigan, the first thing that comes to mind for me is the infamous 1996, the US 500. So I wanted to go there and check to see how you did in that one. I should have known better because you were busy on 1996, that Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, I was actually at the Indy 500 that same day, and I finished third that year. So I was glad I was at Indy because I know it was a little bit of a disaster in Michigan that year.
But you were back for several races, so you have raced at Michigan here before, and it's well, in one word, fast.
Yeah, it was always one of my favorite ovals, and I had some top fives there. Ran really well all the time, and it's the one place that I reached 250 miles an hour going to turn one in practice one day. So a little bit of an eye opener. I think that was back in 1998, I believe.
That's 1/4 of a way to 1,000 miles an hour. Wow, that's launching a speed there. Well, let's talk about the race here today then, and the strategy is: are we looking at a like a Daytona pack race? Is that what we kind of expect?
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. I mean, the drafting is obviously important, but the tires do wear out, so it's not just going to be nose to tail. You're going to have to find that clean air and kind of take care of the tires. You do have a really nice high line in turns 1 and 2. It's a really good place to make some passes, but when you come into 3 and 4, it tends to tighten up at the exit because the track comes down on you. So we'll kind of watch that a little bit today and see if anybody has any trouble. But, saving fuel and everything is going to be important as well, just so to have those short pit stops.
Well, they're about ready to go to qualifying now. So what we're going to do here on the Global Sim Racing channel is take a short break, but don't go far. We'll be back really quick to give you the entire race and qualifying. Back in a few. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing channel's coverage of the Lionheart IndyCar Series, the Midwest Simulations 200 from Michigan International Speedway. Our apologies for the break. Our director, Amjad Yaman, had to discipline a few cyberspace gremlins who were misbehaving, but he scolded them, sent them to their room without supper, and I think we've got everything under control now. And talk about under control, the qualifying's going on out there. And it is Michael Goodman who has control of his car. He sits at the top, putting in a time of 32.4. Let me give you, the decimals are really important here. So figure everything's about a 32 seconds. So I'm going to give you everything on the right of the decimal point. A .442. That's compared to Brandon Limpkeman, who put in a .450, and Ron Hacker a .457. Richie, what's the key here? Just not scrubbing off speed? Is that what it's all about?
Yeah, I mean, you're just trying to get that perfect line and turn that steering wheel as little as possible. You want to be down low, and but you can't touch that white line at all. And you just want to make those nice wide arcs. And sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. I mean, first and second are separated by 0.008 of a second. Can't really measure that too much.
35 drivers on the entry list, 31 were able to put in qualifying times, and that qualifying is done right now. So it's just about time for the drivers to go racing. And you know what? When it is time to go racing, nothing beats the feel of a true hydraulic braking system from HPP Simulations. Designed and manufactured in the USA on state-of-the-art CNC equipment, HPP hydraulic pedals and their accessories set the standard for simulation racing. For more information, please visit hppsimulation.com. And let's go to the HPP starting grid right now. We have time, so we'll take them two at a time. And it is Michael Goodman and Brandon Limpkeman on the front row.
Next up on row 2 will be Ron Hacker and Adam Blocker.
Third populated by Ken Hacker, flanked by Dandy Dan Guerin.
Next up will be Jason Galvin and Tony Schoen.
Last row on this overlay page is Joe Branch and Chris Lanini.
Right after that will be Pierre Daigle and Brian Yazik.
Chris Stouffer is going to be in the Baker's Dozen spot inside of Justin Weaver.
Run up row 8, we got George Anzaldo and Jack Bogan.
17 and 18, it's Big Joe Hassard. In the 18th position, our top rookie, Stefan Larkamp.
Row 10 will be Woody Mahan and the Racing Kangaroo Gray.
Hidden Blackjack, it's Ed King Twetweiler. He's going to be inside of Matthew Mercer in the double duck spot.
Row 12 will be James Krahula and Bob Mikas.
In the quarter century mark, it's Isaiah Dupree, flanked by Scott Johnson.
Row 14 will be Scott Bolster and Dustin Wardlow.
29th and 30th is Vincent Blumenthal and Robert Bluen, who celebrated his 100 race last round.
Next up after them will be Tyler Groff and Jake Wright.
Jake Wright down there without. Good to see him back. A multi-time champion. Did not put in a qualifying time. I'm not sure if Jake's actually racing with us today. He might be up in the booth doing duties. A couple other cars did not put in qualifying time. Samuel Ryman, Ian Adams, and David Cordy. Cordy and Adams are out on the track. Ryman yet to take a spot on the track. I'm not sure if Jake Wright is actually going to do that. Sometimes the race steward also gets listed as a driver. So we'll see how it plays out. Let's go ahead, take this opportunity to look at the onboard cameras as they start to get rolling here. And the first one up we're going to look at there is Brandon Limkeman. He's in the first medical equipment onboard camera. Bob Mikas is also going to be out there. And, of course, what other camera would he be in than the Von Hansen's Meat onboard camera? And then finally, Dandy Dan Guerin racing in our race sponsors car here, the Midwest Simulation onboard camera. Good to have Midwest with us here. We'll talk a little bit more about them as the race goes on. Pace car begins to roll. We'll just have one lap around here because this is a track that is 1 mile longer, and if that's the standard rule of thumb is we only get one pace lap, which is good. How's our weather look here today, Richie? Let's go ahead and put that up, see if that's going to play a factor.
Well, it's just a balmy 82 degrees here in Michigan. Track temp is way up there at 108 degrees. So, like I said earlier, I think tire wear is going to come an issue. So you're going to have to see these guys kind of run, in staggered formation a little bit. We do have a little bit of wind at 5 miles an hour, and it's pretty humid there, like it always is at this time of year. It's 70%.
Of course, we'll bring you our race analysis, tell you exactly what's going on as far as strategy as the race gets going. Simply say they are going 100 laps today, and of course there will be pit stops. How many? Well, we'll see how that plays out. That depends how the yellows fall. Right now, all of our attention is on the driver up front. It is Michael Goodman racing out there in the car number 99, the EcoBoost machine. He's going to be on the inside. He's flanked by a veteran, Brandon Limkeman. Brandon, notorious for racing in the Fire Ice machine, doesn't have that one today. We missed that one.
I think these guys are going to have to take it easy for these first few laps and give each other a little bit of space and kind of let it sort itself out at the beginning.
Pace car is in. You all know what to do. Gather up the chickens, take cover on the cows because the horses are out of the barn, and it is indeed our pole sitter, Michael Goodman, leading the stampede of cars into the first corner. He's followed by Brandon Limkeman. Dropping to third, Ron Hacker. Now they're too wide behind that. On the top side of the blue car, that's Adam Blocker. Dan Guerin moves up into fourth.
Now you can see Michael Goodman trying to take that inside line, forcing Brandon Limkeman around on the outside. And, I think that's going to wear his tires out a little bit at the beginning. So we'll see how this plays out. These guys are fanning out right behind him, seeing 3 wide back there as well.
You saw Jason Galvin knife his way through the field, now up into 6. Watch him again as he tries to put the toothpaste back in the jar as he goes in between the car that was low, that was Blocker, in the blue car. Hacker up on top. Look at how he goes for more. Jason Galvin is a flying as he takes the lead. 3 wide into corner 3. Limkeman on the top side. He knows better. Goodman lets him go by, and we have a new leader. Woohoo! It is the man from Bakersfield, home of some great racers, home of Rick Mears, home of Kevin Harvick, leading Jason Galvin.
Yeah, that didn't take very long. He's started 7th up to 1st after 2 laps, but you can see these guys fanning out behind him, and it looks like he's trying to run both lanes. And here comes Michael Goodman. He's going to try the outside on him, and he's got the draft. We'll see how this plays out.
Yes, well, now Galvin has got there. The question is, can he hold there? Look how they race kind of in staggered position, just like Richie Hearn was talking about. Everybody looking for a little bit of clean air.
Yeah, you can run right behind these guys, but when you go into the corner, you want a little bit of air on that front wing. Otherwise, you're going to pick up that understeer and probably have to lift a little bit. I'm watching Adam Blocker here down on the bottom, and he was making a move, but now he's getting smoked right there at the moment. So that was a little bit not the groove he wanted.
The car on the move is the HPP machine of, you know it, Brian Yosek. That's the familiar colors. Meanwhile, up front, Dandy Dan Guerin has now moved to the lead. He's fought his way up from a 6th position in the starting grid. He's now on the inside. Yes, there are many cars racing, but right now the action is too intense up in front.
You got Brian Yosek
in the middle. Yeah, go ahead.
Trying to squeeze that toothpaste, like you said, right through the middle. And looks like he's going to get it. He's going to come out to the high side here. He's going to take over the lead. But once again, here comes to the bottom. Another change of position.
That is Jason Galvin, who has that car working. What I think's going on here, Richie, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think the guys are enjoying the tires while they're fun to race with. Maybe we're not going to be seeing this as the stint goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the stint's about 29 laps, so I think about halfway through this run, you're going to see these guys kind of back off for that a little bit. But right now, they get all the grip they need, and they're just using it up as they're taking that draft. And here comes Dan Guerin to the lead now as well.
Guerin up in front in that citrus-flavored car, number 8 on the top side. Down below, it is Jason Galvin. Let's go ahead and quickly take this opportunity to talk about the race analysis, how long they're going. They're going 100 laps. You talked about the fuel stint. We think it's about 29 laps. And, of course, there are incident points. 8 incident costs you 3. 12 incident gets you DQ'd, and you lose 5 championship points. Incident's not going to be a factor. Look at the run from 3rd, as it is the newly nuptial Brian Yosek.
Yeah, there's so much going on. You can't keep up with it. They're just swapping positions, and this is basically just like it was when I was racing there. It was just nonstop action, and you just kind of get sucked in, and you got to go for it. You got Adam Blocker looking at the outside, but he's going to have to tuck back in. Sorry, Soup.
So with that said, we're going to cut away for just a second. We're going to go to 21st position. I want to talk about the guy who's our hard charger. It's Ian Adams. And again, looking down here, he didn't put in a qualifying attempt. I'm going to boycott him from my hard charger award here for this day. But right now, started 21st, working on the outside of Mercer. There is no gap. There is just one big pack. And honestly, our tension is going to be up front because sometimes, Richie, when we have these races, the front is peaceful and it's the back that puts on the show. But right now, the guys up front, they're having fun. They want to be leading.
Yeah, I mean, you can't stop when you get that draft. You can't stop it. And here comes Jason Galvin. He got a good suck up into the corner, looking to the outside. Can't quite make it out work. I think we're starting to maybe see a little bit of those tires, specifically the front, kind of give up a little bit in the middle of the corner.
Let's go back to 8th position. This guy has been working hard. We're talking about Chris Stouffer. Sanctioned by First Medical Equipment, you're watching the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Lionheart IndyCar Series at the Midwest Simulation 200 from Michigan International Speedway. Those damn cyberspace gremlins were misbehaving again, and our director really had to scold them this time. My gosh, but I think we got everything under control now. They know who's boss, and I think we're going to be able to bring you the rest of this action as it happens live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. And you know what? You haven't missed a thing. Richie, they just started, well, as I say, they started to go single file. As I say that, they're 3 wide into corner number 2.
Yeah, we were watching them a little bit, and they were getting single. But, you know, once you get that draft, you don't want to give it up, so you're going to go for it. But we're kind of seeing them settle down a little bit. It's impressive that we haven't had a yellow yet. I do want to bring up our big mover right here. Big Joe started 17th. He's up there in 4th, just hanging with those guys up in the lead pack here.
That's how you get honored for being a big mover. Put in a qualifying time. Don't do any sandbagging. You ride on the back of, I believe that was Joe Hasser we were riding with there. I wasn't quite sure. And now they go by. Richie, let me ask you from a real-world perspective. I don't know how to say this without this sounding kind of cavalier, but as a driver, when you're in these pack races like this, is there ever a time where you start to relax and just start to say, okay, I know we're going, 230 miles an hour 3 feet apart, but I'm feeling pretty good?
No, because that's when you're going to get yourself in trouble. As we watch these guys go 3 wide, there's always something going on, and you're kind of feeling out the car, and you got to be on it. I mean, you got to be on the point the whole time. Otherwise, like a blink of an eye, you'll be in the fence.
So you're always aware. Then you're always even when you think things are calm, you're always watching for stuff to happen. Man, that's got to be as much.
Oh, absolutely.
Much mental fatigue as it is physical fatigue, I would think.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, is not like falling into a lull and really staying focused, because things happen so fast. And it is tough. That's the tough part about these high-speed ovals.
With that said, these guys are doing a good job of staying focused as well. As we are working lap 20. We talked about the stint, 29 laps. We're not that far away. Dandy Dan Guerin, could this be the race that he finally... Uh-oh. As I said that, George Anzaldo involved in it with our rookie Stephen Larkamp.
Oh, that's too bad there.
Oh, and that was Stephen Larkamp, who just kind of ran through him. You talked about the run. He just ran up behind Anzaldo is what I could see. What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. It's when you get that run, too, and all of a sudden you realize you're getting a little too close. Those things don't stop very fast.
Oh, and then stay on Larkamp. It gets worse. I didn't realize. Also involved in it, this is way after, is Bluthenthal and Dupree. Stay on. There you see Dupree and Bluthenthal have nowhere to go. And that is Larkamp, who is barrel rolling down the straight.
Yeah, that was a little weird accident there. He just came up on him a little fast. And, just caught him off guard. So you're running so close. It doesn't take much to clip the rear end of these guys.
We're on board with Bluthenthal, and talk about stuff happening at these speeds. The cars that are off in the distance, they get big really fast.
Yeah, it's not much room to make a change of direction there, and unfortunately, Bluthenthal is just kind of caught up in a spot that he didn't want to be in. But we should be seeing some pit stops coming up. I was hoping to see green flag pit stops, but here they come into the pit lane.
In case you're wondering, this is big boy racing. There are no fast repairs here in any Lionheart IndyCar sanctioned event. Dan Guerin leads the field into pit lane. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to have the best pit stall, as those stalls are laid out based on qualifying, and Guerin qualified well in sixth position. He's going a little bit farther back.
Looks like everybody came into their box pretty cleanly. Here goes Guerin. He's about to come out of his box right here, and he's going to continue to stay in the lead as they cross that blend line.
First out is Dan Guerin, Jason Galvin, Tony Schowen in next in line. Now I'm showing Dan Guerin as second. So did somebody decide to stay out there? Let me double check. Well, if you're a fan of the Lionheart IndyCar Series and you want somebody to take a weird strategy, who better than James Krahula? Yes, he stayed out. I don't know why. I can't. Mr. Hearn, can you think of any reason, any advantage for staying out? I guess he was at the back and this.
Well, it depends on how much fuel he was saving, and running in the back, you can lift quite a bit. We were about 7 laps shy of a full run. Maybe he's hoping, caution's breeding caution, so he might be hoping for another yellow. He can come back in, and then he'll be a couple of laps on a different cycle than everybody.
Yeah, I would imagine he might just do that. Maybe just going to stay out there and, like you said, get a few more laps. And sure enough, that's what he was going to do. He's going to come in right now.
He's got to get those sponsor plugs, He's got to get up there front, get those sponsor plugs, and just cycle back to the end.
Absolutely, and he's in the JMK Supply. And, of course, he's got thumbs up, cancer down on that machine as well. So Krahula comes in, has his 15 minutes of Andy Warhol fame. What's up?
Right, I was just going to say, we're going to re-rack them here. Everybody's got fresh tires. I expect to see the same type of action that we had at the beginning of the race.
We apologize for the lagging that is going on. We have some elaborate plans here at the Global Sim Racing channel to get that taken care of. We'll give you more on that as it progresses. Stay with us. We're going to bring you a nice, clean show here before too long. When you think about it, it's amazing that these things work at all when we have director, 2 commentators in different locations, a director in another location, and then what do we have out here? 34 drivers all around the globe, including Australia. Dan Guerin, Jason Galvin, and Big Joe Hassard. Big Joe Hassard started in 17th position up to 3rd. We noted his rise from the field. Tony Schowen and Chris Stouffer round out your top 5. As I scroll back, looking for a driver that maybe hasn't got a lot of love, the driver in 10th, Ron Hacker. We haven't called him much. Qualified in 3rd. We haven't heard much from him. He fell out of the mix. Pace car is in.
And here we go.
Working lap number 24. It is the man who has been snake bit both in this series and in the sister retro series. Of course, we're talking about Dandy Dan Guerin out there in his familiar number 8. He's got himself a nice 5-car length lead over Big Joe Hassard, but maybe that's a little bit too far. Here comes Big Joe.
Yeah, right. It's a little too far. He's going to get hell of a run right down to the inside on Dan Guerin, and Big Joe and Jason Galvin are going to go by him. Dan Guerin might even lose another position here.
Guerin up on the top side, just letting the train go by. And sure enough, we talked about Chris Stouffer. He's in that white car down below. The Adrenaline Motorsports driver moving up into 4th. That is Chris Stouffer. Fighting back now is Dan Guerin. Meanwhile, out in front, well, I thought it was. It changes by the time I get there. It's Big Joe Hassard getting it back in his Mosaic-sponsored car.
And we got Tony Schowen making a move for 2nd place. He's going to get sucked up behind Big Joe as well. And we might have a new leader before we get to turn 1, and it looks like we do.
So what was the results of that accident that happened back on lap 20? Well, we are losing Stefan Larkamp and Isaiah Dupree. Looks like their cars were not fixable. Vincent Blumenthal brought his car back out there. He's well off pace. Still on the lead lap, but dropping as he races in 32nd position.
Big Joe retaking the lead here into turn 3. Let's draft, but here comes Schowen once again. He's going to go around the high side and try and retake that lead. He wants to run up front in that clean air.
Mark that down for the end of the race. There is plenty of time to get from 2nd position to the lead out of corner 4 before you get to the start-finish line. Heck, you might be able to get there from 3rd or even 4th position maybe.
And that's a good thing to bring up there, Soup. You know, a lot of these guys, you know, just trying to find out what's going to work in case there's like a 2-lap shootout, you know, what's best for them. And so they're just kind of testing the waters and seeing where their car works best.
And there you saw it. Tony Schowen was first out of corner 4, but Joe Hassard was first to the start-finish line as he's back up in the lead. Once again, these drivers, they're on fresh tires again, so they're feeling good.
Yeah, they'll be able to run anywhere they want with these fresh tires. You know, I assume about 10 laps, we'll see them kind of single file out a little bit, but we did still see some 3-wide racing once we got near the end of that run. So, you know, that grip level, like I said earlier, might not be as much as a factor as I think it would be. It's definitely making it exciting for us because there's non-stop passing no matter where you look.
Speaking of that, if our director can stick with me here, let's go back and document some of the cars in the second 10. We'll look back in 11th position if that's possible. There we're looking at, well, let's go like that's Pierre Degla up on the top. It's hard to pick a position because it changes so much. The low side is Woody Mahan. Right in front, that's Bob Mikas and the Von Hansen Meat Machine.
Yeah, these guys have all jumped in the blender.
Yeah, riding on board with the Von Hansen's Meat Machine. So many great sponsors here at the IndyCar Series. Boy, if you want somebody to shop, if you need some gifts for people, I'll tell you right now, 4th of July coming up. How about you give Von Hansen's a look? They'll send you some meat. You'll have a good barbecue. Check out Lock Precision Rocketry. When law enforcement isn't looking, set one of those off too from your backyard. All right, maybe that's not a good idea. I apologize. Don't listen to the commentator. They're coming right at you.
It's a crazy race here. No matter where we look, there's just passes going on. I have been watching Big Joe. He's been able to hold off Tony Schoen for a couple laps now. And just as I say that, you know, Schoen's going to go to the inside, make me look like a fool and retake the lead here. They're looking like they're 3 wide coming out of 4, back to single file, and then just spread back out going into turn 1.
Your leaders up front, I'll document it for you since we don't have the graphics working right now. Losing position on the low side, that is Tony Schoen going by in the lead. Big Joe Hazard in the familiar, oh man, that's like a black, dark blue and gold car. Diving down below, in the global car, that is Jason Galvin.
Yeah, Jason Galvin wants a piece of that clean air, so he's going to take the lead, hanging on the low side in the tri-oval. Big Joe's hanging on the outside. Looks like he wants to take it back, but they're starting to single file out a little bit here, and so kind of seeing it settle down a bit.
The car in third, the white car, is Chris Stouffer. Tony Schoen in fourth. Dan again, Darren goes to the low side. He gets Schoen.
He goes to the low side, but Stouffer kind of blocks him off there.
Now they go 2 wide up front, punching a big hole. Oh, there's no room there. Oh, Chris thought about it, and he almost got into it with Dan Guerin. Oh.
Yeah, that was really close. I don't think you can get any closer than that. And then Dan Guerin's going to just try to poke underneath and retake that spot. Take that spot from Stouffer there.
Continue to swap position. Let's go ahead and see if we can find another hard charger to talk about. We've talked about Stouffer. Micus is up 14th. Who have we not mentioned here? Boy, they're all up front. Let's go.
We got Woody Mann just jumped up 10 spots as well.
Let's take a second drop to 17th. Give a little love to Matthew Mercer. He's up a half dozen positions. Started in 22nd, racing in 16th. Just ahead of that fluorescent blue machine of Chris Lanini. Honestly, fans, you can tell that these guys are all... Richie, I think if Stouffer or Lanini, if they really put their mind to it, they could start working their way through here as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I think with the way the pit stops are, we're going 29 laps, 100-lap race, just so you do the math. That puts us about 10 laps short. So if these guys can save some fuel, and they might be able to maybe be a little bit quicker on that last stop or one less stop altogether. If it was me, I'd be hanging in the back, just kind of watching what's going on. These guys aren't getting away from them, and they'll get their chance to run up front near the end.
They're coming up on a veteran of the series, Vincent Blumenthal. He does a good job of keeping that car on the high side as he goes a lap down. Blumenthal in that yellow machine.
One person I'm really impressed with is Big Joe. He's not giving up that lead. He gets past and he goes right back to the front.
They single file their way around Blumenthal. That's not the case up front, as they are single file, but they're lined up side by side when they're doing it. Galvin out in front right now. Look at the run. Here he comes, Brian Yazek. Yazek gets Big Joe Hazard. That's where it stops. My gosh, on the top side. Working around, that's Guerin. They come across working lap 39 of 100.
There's just no way to hold that lead. When you got 2 or 3 cars in front of him, that 3rd or 4th car in line gets such a draft. He's going to go right to the front. We're running side by side now, going down the backstretch. Big Joe running down the low end. Jason Galvin up on the high end.
Look at that Dougie Beer stationary camera shot that really gives the impression of the speed they are running. Coming around working lap 40. How long have they been out there on this stint? Well, about 18 laps, but that takes into account a couple yellow flag laps before we went green. Another pass for the lead. Richie,
Pretty
I think
impressive.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
A track like this kind of levels the playing field for a lot of drivers, doesn't it? Boy, they continue to go 3 wide up front. All of a sudden, drivers that may not have the technical skill on the road courses, they're really brought into the mix, and it opens up who can actually win these things.
Absolutely, and especially since they're running the fixed setup. Everybody's on a level playing field, and really it just comes down to strategy. It's just kind of pick your lane. It's kind of like going down the highway, and you're kind of picking the lane that's going best. And, so it's going to come down to a crapshoot right at the end. I don't think we can pick a favorite from right now.
Well, it's been good racing. There has only been one caution so far. That involved Stephen Larkamp when he got into the back of George Anzaldo. We can report that George is still out there racing. If we can, the car in 20th position. I know there's a lot of stuff going on behind the curtain here at GSRC as we continue to work to get our stream working real well. George Anzaldo, there you see him working on the outside. That's the bolster down low, and they go around Bluthenthal, that lap car.
Yeah, George's car is looking pretty good, so even though he got hit from behind, doesn't look like he has any damage, and he's still on the lead lap. So, he's back in this game. That didn't really hurt him much at all.
Out there in his familiar colors, the black and red machine with the Lionheart on it. Ducking now underneath, making a pass. That's Scott Bolster. We look at him up front. They are fanned out.
Yeah, we got Big Joe. He's trying to hold off this pack. He's doing an excellent job doing it. He really enjoys being in that clean air. And just a second ago, we saw almost 4 wide going into turn 1. They're starting to single file a little bit coming off the corners. Maybe those tires are starting to wear out a little bit. We're getting closer to a green flag stop. Probably about another, I'm going to say 10 laps, 9 laps.
What we're going to do right now, we have another plan in midst. So what we're going to do is take another really quick break. We'll be back in just a while. Don't go far. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Lionheart IndyCar Series Midwest Simulations 200 from Michigan International Speedway. We have had 1 yellow. We are under green, working just to the halfway point right now. We believe we have our internet gremlins properly scolded and put to bed now. They've been very pesky. We're going to have to talk with them. Coming around, working lap number 49, starting lap 50. It is our leader, Big Joe Hassard.
Yeah, we haven't really missed much since we were away. I mean, it's pretty much been Joe and Galvin going back and forth. These guys are starting to single file out a little bit. And like I said, we should be seeing pit stops in about 3-4 laps, I'm going to guess. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm going to calculate out here with that yellow flag we had.
They continue to work around again. Yes, they are 28 laps into this stint. Remember, though, the first 2 or 3 of those were under caution. But here he comes. Our leader is in. Big Joe Hassard followed on the outside. They are side by side down pit lane. Cialis bathtubs through pit lane. That is Big Joe Hassard on the inside. Jason Galvin on the outside. I hope they know where their pit stalls are, because right now, fortunately enough, the guy on the inside pulls off first. Then tucks in is Brian Yosick, and the man from Bakersfield gets into his spot.
Yeah, those guys all came in together. That was a little tricky getting into that pit lane at 200 and some odd miles an hour. Here goes Big Joe. He's heading out. Ooh, he's going to get passed. He's going to get passed on the out.
Air traffic controller is working big time now as Dan Guerin has come in, as has Ron Hacker.
Yeah, Jason Galvin has got ahead of Big Joe. Although it's not going to matter much. This is such a draft fest. These guys just got to stay in touch. But now they're blending right on out into hot traffic. And they're weaving all over these guys, trying to get out of the way. Hopefully we don't see an accident. These guys are going to start coming in hot in front of them. Real tricky pit lane entrance here at this speed.
Adam Blocker is our leader right now. He stays out. Galvin comes out right behind him, but he's a lap down.
Also, our pole sitter, Michael Goodman's back to second place. He's waiting for that pit stop coming up as well.
Action is hot and heavy here at Michigan International Raceway.
And here they come, Blocker and Goodman both coming in together. They're in pit lane as we speak. Bringing along Woody Mahan and Justin Weaver as well. And then we got to see where Jason Galvin and Big Joe come around as they come out of the pits. They're coming up to turn 3 as we speak.
Hopefully they'll be able to negotiate this. Michael Goodman is our leader currently. He's yet to make his stop. Goodman has made his stop now, and they cycle around. From what I can tell, it looks like Galvin is going to be the guy who's going to come out the best. Galvin and Hassard. Here's someone. Hello, welcome to the race. Pierre Nightingale, racing back there in the number 14 machine, sitting in third. Brian Yosick and Dandy Dan Guerin work your top 5. And Richie, that pit stop, that stretched it out a bit. That broke up the big cloud up in front.
Yeah, broke up those packs there. I'm kind of impressed with Pierre Daigle. He pitted a couple laps earlier than these guys, and he's been able to move himself all the way up to third. So he had one hell of an in-lap and out-lap, so good on him. He's up there right in front of Dan Guerin.
Take a look at lap times there that were going on before the pit stops. Galvin was running at 32.7, 32.8, 33 flat. Maybe about maybe about 0.2 of a second slower than what he started off under fresh yellow, but not horribly slow.
Well, when we did see Jason and Big Joe come out of the pits, they got right into a bunch of traffic, so might have slowed them down just enough to let Pierre kind of tag along with them into this front pack.
They work around David Cordy, who does a good job of keeping that car high. And so now we have a 5-car battle. Let me tell you who's in the mix here. Galvin, go ahead. He's dropped back into the lead now. So it's Galvin, and kind of the white and black and blue machine you see up in front. Big Joe Hazard right behind him. The citrus-flavored car, that's Dan Guerin in third. But very much in the mix, the familiar HPP, the fluorescent blue machine of Brian Yazik. And then we talked about it, Pierre Niedendegla, the No Name Racing's colors. Let's ride on board with Dandy Dan Guerin. We'll do that there in just a minute. There we go. Racing for Midwest Simulations. Midwest, a good group. Glad they're along with us. Let me tell you, we'll stay on here for a little bit. We'll tell you a little bit about who Midwest Simulations are. You know, if you were like Midwest Simulations, they serve the central Iowa area with at-event solutions for driving and golf simulations, as well as custom-built motion simulation system. Their mobile platform allows Midwest Simulations to come directly to your event, whether it's like a birthday party or maybe a tailgating thing, a car show, baby shower, whatever. Maybe you have a trade show. Man, if they come there, they'll add a little spice to your presentation. Both the driving and golf simulations can be tailored for your specific need. Pricing is flexible. You want to know how to find them? Well, find them on Facebook. Midwest at facebook.com/Midwest Sim. Midwest Sim. Man, that sounds fun.
Yeah, while we were riding on board with Dan Guerin, you probably saw a little bit of a moment. He went down low into turn 3. Jason Goblin just kind of blocked him out. So we got to ride on board while that was happening. Got a good group here in the front. Top 5 guys kind of swapping spots, but not holding each other up. And then from Pierre Daigle down to Christopher, Adam Blocker, there's about almost 2-second gap. So we got 2 separate packs running together right now.
You got it, Richie. Let's look at that second pack. Right now, the engine of that train is Adam Blocker. And again, Richie talked about it. They're about 2 seconds behind the front 5. Blocker making the move down below in his white adrenaline machine. That is Christopher, so move him up a spot. Also back there in the Von Hansen's meat machine is Bob Micas, Tony Schowen in 9th, and Michael Goodman rounding out your top 10. Let's take this opportunity to go on board with another onboard camera. It is Bob Micas and the Von Hansen's meat machine. Again, 4th of July is coming up. Man, well, you know what I would want on 4th of July is one of those salamis from Von Hansen. Oh my God. No, I forget to tell you, the flavored pretzels. Oh man, they are delicious. I've never had anything like them. Von Hansen's meat, check them out. I'm serious, Richie, about these flavored pretzels. They were.
I really believe you. They sound pretty intense.
Oh man.
These guys, watching these guys, Adam Blocker and Christopher, they're doing a good job of just leapfrogging each other, and they're bringing themselves back to that pack because they're only they've got about a half a second closer, and so they're just kind of just going back and forth, and that's smart racing on these guys.
Yeah, it was 1.7 when we really started talking about them. It's 1.2 now. So once again, Richie Hearn giving you very precise numbers, and that's what a race car driver does. They are very precise. Let's go back to 11th position, see what's going on back there. Chris Lanini being pestered by Justin Weaver. Weaver in that kind of blue machine back there. If I know better, I got to sure that's the Moby Dickie's car. Let's make sure. Do I have that one right? Sure enough. Hello, everybody at Moby Dickie's. Justin Weaver in 12th. Joe Branch in 13th. Woody Mahan in 14th. And then that's where the gap really starts. It's about another 3 seconds back to Matthew Mercer and falling. I don't think it's going to be long till our 5-car train turns into a 15-car train.
No, they're working it just like they would if they were on the Tour de France. They're just going back and forth with each other, and they're slowly catching them. These guys up front are trying to do the same thing, but, you know, sometimes they're 3 wide. So, you know, I think we're going to see, like you said, it's going to be about a 15-car pack here in about 3 laps.
It's down to a 1-second gap now from Daigle back to whoever decides to be leading back here. Right now it's Adam Blocker. The lead group go 2 by 2. They'll want to get that sorted out because they're coming up on the back of George Anzaldo. He's racing at 28th. He is the last car on the lead lap. Let me double check that. That is correct. We saw George have trouble earlier. Got into it with rookie Stefan Larkamp, but they both stayed out there. That was the only yellow flag that we had.
Not much to report except constantly passing for the lead. I'm watching these guys, Adam Blocker and Chris Stouffer, start creeping up on him. They're now just about a little over a second, and they're getting closer. I think they're going to be picking up the draft of Pierre Daigle anytime now.
Yeah, here's the good news. The guy that you got doing the work for that second group is Adam Blocker, qualified for it. And I'm safe to say that he's there now. He's about 10 car lengths behind Daigle. So here they come. And everyone pretty much on the same pit strategy. Some of these guys are going to be able to go a little bit farther.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's about the same. Pierre's about 2 laps longer. Adam Blocker, though, and Chris Stouffer and Bob Mikas, Michael Goodman, Justin Weaver, Tony Schoen, that whole group behind them is about 3 laps shorter on tires. So, if it comes down to it, they're going to have a shorter fill at the end here.
Yeah, Daigle has been out there the longest. Branch and Mahan maybe can go a lap longer than everybody else. Adam Blocker's in pretty good shape as well. But unless this starts to play out where you start to multiply your fuel stint by 2 or 3 times.
Well, Adam Blocker's right on the back of Pierre Daigle. He's going up to the outside. He's not messing around. He's going to try to go around Pierre and move right up to Brian Yazek if he can.
All right, I must confess, as I was about to go ahead and do a little math and figure out pit stops, we are only 30 to go. My goodness, this race has gone by quickly with only 1 yellow flag. So now this starts to get serious for what's going on. Look at these 2 guys going along up front. If we can go to the lead right now, it's Dan Guerin. Is he finally going to get the success he's been looking for? Big Joe Hasser, Galvin.
Yeah, now these guys are running that way. They brought Adam Blocker right up to the 4A.
Yeah. Well, now they have to start positioning about where you want to be when it's pit stop time. Now these start to matter. It's going to start to 1 stop to go, and it could be anywhere from the next 6 to 12 laps, I would say. They work their way around. This is David Cordy, Brandon Limpkeman, Vincent Blumenthal, all getting out of the way as the leaders are coming.
Yeah, I'm going to say we probably get to about a lap 80 before we pit. That's going to leave us with a short 20-lap stint at the end. These guys are all going to pit. I think whoever's leading, as soon as he pulls in, you're going to see the next 4 or 5 guys all duck with him.
Yeah, I would think that is the case. What this lap traffic has done is it's allowed Dandy Dan Guerin to get a little bit of a gap now, about a half-second gap over a Big Joe Hazard as they had to work their way around Limpkeman. Blumenthal was also in the mix, so it broke him up a bit. Let's look at Brandon Limpkeman, who is in the mix right now, trying to stay out of it. There he is. That is our first medical equipment boy. They have been with us for a long time. The onboard camera. Good to have them back every season. Right now, he's getting passed down below from Blocker, going underneath, and Yasik as well. All right, we have 1 taker. It is George Anzaldo. He was not on the lead lap, so he comes in.
Yeah, he's hoping for a yellow flag pretty soon. But, he's probably right at the end of his cycle because he pitted a little differently after that yellow flag. We are getting closer to that 80 laps here. So we'll see if I am right. But Dan Guerin's got a healthy half a second lead, if you call that healthy. And if he comes in now and can keep that gap, he's going to have a jump on them coming out of the pits as well.
Dan Guerin comes across with that half-second lead. Galvin now, I would imagine Galvin and Big Joe Hassard are going to start to work together for second. There's Big Joe racing in second.
Big Joe's been tough today. He has, every time he gets past, he goes right back for it. So he's not one to sit around, and he probably wants to get back up to the front as soon as he can. Oh, here they come. Here comes Big Joe.
So positions 2 and 3 are going to come in. They're going to bring in some more with them.
All right, so here we go. This is going to be really interesting to see how it plays out with Dan Guerin. He might not have been expecting that, so they're looking for the undercut on him.
Galvin, Micas coming in as well. The Hacker Boys and Tyler coming in.
Big Joe's leaving his pit stall. Kind of watching him right now, getting an idea. And here comes Dan Guerin. Dan Guerin's coming into the pit lane. He's also bringing in Adam Blocker, Brian Yazik, and Chris Stouffer as well.
Okay, the first car out, it was Hassard who got the best of Jason Galvin. So Hassard is out. If he can tuck in now, George Anzaldo goes around him. He's a lap down, but this might be good for Big Joe Hassard. He might be able to get on the back, get a little bit of a tow from the lapped car. He is going through corner 3 and corner 4 right now. Guerin is just beginning to roll with all of his buddies. Coming out, it's Guerin ahead of Blocker.
And Big Joe and Jason Galvin got a big run. They're full speed. They're going to go right on by these guys.
And Zaldo is first, but he's a lap down. But there they come. Oh, my goodness. Look at the run, the tow that Galvin gets. Not only do they go around Guerin, but Galvin shoots to the inside, and he gets to the inside of Big Joe Hassard. So they are good to go now. The car up in front, don't be fooled. That's George Anzaldo. Right behind him, coming across the line in the blue and black machine, that's Galvin. He's being chased by Joe Hassard. Blocker has come out. Guerin sits back fourth from the cars who have pitted. Everybody has pitted now.
And we're going 3 wide into turn 3 with Big Joe and George going side by side.
George trying to make the car invisible. It has mass. He is racing. That car is 1 lap down.
Yeah, but he's able to fight, because if a yellow flag comes on, he'll get cycled to the back. So it's fair of him to do what he's doing. So now we got a 4 or 5 car pack here. Big Joe, Galvin, Blocker, and Guerin, and Yazik all fighting for the lead. It's going to be quite a finish. So we got 19 laps to go when we come out of turn 4.
Should report that Justin Weaver is really the leader out on the track right now, but he still needs to make that stop. Weaver and Goodman, I guess these guys would be looking for a yellow, I think, right now, as they are. Now they're on they haven't been able to put those guys a lap down, so the yellow would just file them back to the back.
Yeah, Weaver, Goodman, and Samuel. I think Samuel's pitted. Weaver and Goodman, they're on 28 lap stints, so they got to be coming in soon. They're just hoping for something to happen with the yellow, or kind of sitting ducks once they come out.
Right, the Candyman Dustin Wardlow is making his stop. He's beginning to roll right now. Meanwhile, he's still in the pits. Going by are all of his friends.
So Weaver and Goodman are in the pit lane. They will be able to take a little less fuel, gain them a few spots as they cycle back around. So that might...
I can pull back the curtain once again here at GSRC as we have subbed in directors. Sean Crackers Ambrose now manning the knobs and the sliders. And what he would say right now with just under 20 to go, put on your dancing shoes, get that mirrored ball spinning. It's time to boogie.
And just as we said, we had like 5-car battle. Looks like we got about a 8-car battle for the win. Looking back behind Adam Blocker's car, he has some damage on his front wing, on his right front wing. It's not looking so good. If we can get a picture of that. And he's going to struggle, I think, as he gets in the draft.
The pit window is finished. It is Dan Guerin out in front, but only for the time being. As I say that, he is passed not by 1, but by 2 cars. Big Joe Hassard goes underneath him, as does that global car of Jason Galvin. Hazard now being passed by Yazik. Car in fifth, the familiar kind of Dodger blue machine of Adam Blocker. Stouffer, Tutwiler, doesn't belong in the mix. Bob Mike is in seventh.
So, Soup, we got to start. I want to see you predict who's going to win this race.
Oh, this is an easy call. It's just the law of averages. The luck that Dan Guerin has had all season long, it cannot continue. The horseshoes, the four-leaf clovers, have all got to go his way. Whoa, Chris Stouffer almost got into it with Blocker. He has to check up. He's going to be gobbled up by Von Hansen meat machine. No, he doesn't.
I'm going to go with Big Joe as my prediction. He's been constantly fighting, getting back to the front. He's not there right now, but, I've been watching him starting 17th all the way up to the lead pack, so that's who I'm going to think is going to pull this off.
Well, just like an expecting parent, I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, I just want it to be healthy. I don't care who wins, I just want it to finish under green. Working down low, Dan Guerin.
And we got 2 lanes of traffic going into the turn 3. These guys are starting to fight for positioning. We got, 13 laps to go, and starting to get a little ruthless out there, it looks like.
Somebody help out my poor rods and cones. What color is Dan Guerin's car? Is it yellow or green?
It's
That's car
green
number
and black.
8. Green and black, all right.
Kind of like Danica Patrick.
Oh my goodness. That is a green machine underneath. Takes the lead. Galvin up on top. Look at this down below. A little dipsy-do from Brian Yazik. They come across the line. Galvin's going to get credit with leading lap number 88 as they work lap number 89. Lucky 11 to go.
And it looks like we got a 6-car breakaway for the lead. Dan Guerin working that green machine up on the high line. Brian Yazik going down the inside, coming into turn 3 side by side.
5 cars racing in a 2-1-2 zone defense coming out of 4. Stouffer now getting in the mix. 6 cars in the lead lap. They have about a 0.7 of a second gap.
And there goes Jason Galvin right to the bottom lane. Looks like he's going to take this lead up. Yazik's going to pinch him down and hold him off, and Galvin's got to back up. Oh!
And he gets hit. He lost all of his momentum, and he pulled up, and he could not stay off.
Oh, that was too bad for Adam Blocker.
Blocker had nowhere to go, and horrible news for the man with one name, Christopher, as he cartwheels down, cartwheeling, barrel rolling. Pick your gymnastic maneuver. It happened to Chris Stouffer. His day is done.
Yeah, basically Jason loses the front of the car, washes up, and those guys just have nowhere to go. And there we go, into the blender.
Galvin pinwheels as well.
Well, here we go. We're going to have about a, 7-lap shootout, 8-lap shootout?
Yes. Cars that were involved in that one, Stouffer and Galvin. I believe everybody else got away. We talked about Jason Galvin in the countdown to green, how he had to stop the bad results now. He has been fast, but with missing a race and having to take a provisional in another one because he only went less than a lap, he just cannot afford to do this. Pitting? Do we pit? Can you give up? Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Brian Yazik says yes.
I definitely wouldn't be pitting. I haven't seen the tires really kind of wear off that much, so he's going to have a lot of traffic to work through. Him and Big Joe have pitted as well.
Hazard decides to come in. Micas, who was back in about 8th. Now, the guys who were farther back, I could see them coming in. How many cars on the... Oh, my gosh, though, Richie, there are... I'm looking at like 20, almost 24 cars on the lead lap. Hopefully, I guess a lot of guys come into pit from the back, but... Oh.
I don't know if that, as they pulled in, if they were hoping that people would go with them.
Yeah.
Right now, they are in a deep hole with only about 8-9 laps to go. So Dan Guerin, Adam Blocker, they're right up front, looking good for this this run to the finish.
Dan Guerin, always fast, has had nothing but bad luck this season in both this and the Retro Series. Currently sitting in front. Right behind him, in that Dodger blue car, the Adrenaline Motorsports blue and black, that is Adam Blocker.
And I believe that's Woody Mahan and Michael Goodman as well. They've inherited that 3rd and 4th spot. You know, Michael started on the pole, been pretty patient, and it's worked out for him so far. We'll see how it goes.
If we can put the camera on car number 9, currently in 24th position, it's Ed King Tutwiler. He's 3rd in line, but now with under 10 laps to go, these cars that are a lap down, drivers like Tutwiler and Zaldo, Bogan, they will get cycled out. In fact, they're going to run them through pit lane right now. That's going to allow Woody Mahan to get in there. Jack Bogan, who's a lap down, he'll peel off. So Woody Mahan is going to be in 3rd, qualified in 19th. Michael Goodman in 4th. Where's the first driver that came in for a stop?
He's 10th.
Yep.
Right behind Samuel Ryman, who didn't pit, Ron Hacker, Chris Laney, Tony Showen. I don't know. It's going to be tough for Brian and Big Joe, I think, to get up. I don't think there's that much difference in the tires with this shorter distance to go.
Should be able to get through drivers like Ryman, Hacker, Lanini, and Showen. The problem is there's only going to be about 6 laps to go when we get the green again. And Guerin and Blocker, it's going to be Goodnight Nurse, as those guys are going to be going.
And if we get a caution with less than 5 laps, it's over. So really the race is to that, 4 laps to go.
Woody Mahan out there in 3rd in his Clipping That Apex car. Another one of our sponsors. If you haven't had a chance, you want some unique apparel, go to Clipping That Apex. The lights are off the pace car, so they will be coming in. Right now, we would like to finish under green, so if you're a driver racing back there 1 lap down or at the back of the lead lap cars for 16th or 17th, why don't you say Shepherd's Prayer? Now, of course, I'm talking about the astronaut Alan Shepard, who said, Lord, please don't let me, well, watch my friends, screw up. We're under green. It is Dandy Dan Guerin leading him across the line. 7 to go. Guerin, Blocker, Woody Mahan's got to be pinching himself. Started in 19th. He's in 3rd. Michael Goodman, Justin Weaver, top 5.
We're getting a pass for the lead here as Blocker goes to the inside. Also, Woody Mahan's hanging in there. Michael Goodman coming to the inside. Got about 5 cars, 6 cars here battling for the win.
I can report that Yazik is into 8th position, but he's not making up a ton of time. I don't think he's going to be a factor. Big Joe Hazard racing side by side with him. Those guys are on fresh rubber, but it's going to be too little too late. We're going to focus our attention up in front right now, where it is the man on the top side. It is Green Machine, Dandy Dan Guerin, racing for lock precision on the side of it. He's out, tied for the lead. Cialis Bathtubs out of 4. Can you win from 3rd? You might be able to. And that's what Justin Weaver was trying to do, as he was bobbing, weaving his way, trying to find his way around. 5 to go.
And don't look now, just to the back of that pack is Brian Yostik. So he has gotten a hell of a run. He's running right to the back of these guys. So he might make us look like fools because he's going right down below Big Joe. And we'll see. We got 5 laps to go.
Yazik and Big Joe Hazard. Hazard also on the new tires. He's a-coming. Big Joe is a flying. He is now up to sixth position and in the mix with plenty of time to get there. Out in front, it's Dan Garrett. Justin Weaver now in second. Right behind him, Goodman. Mahan has fallen back to third. Here comes the man with fresh rubber, the HPP machine. Nipping down low is Brian Yosik. He can't get there, but there is great grip for Big Joe Hassard. He goes underneath Michael Goodman. Here comes Big Joe.
Big Joe and Brian Yosik are making us look like fools. Looks like they made the right choice, being able to stay right on the bottom lane all the way around. That's the shortest distance to go.
I got fresh rubber, and I am out in front. Big Joe Hassard, there was no yellow flag, which would have soured his strategy. So now, your two favorites have got to be Hassard and Yosik, both with fresher rubber. Anybody else with fresh rubber suit that might be in the mix? Pierre Degla, keep an eye on him. Oh my goodness, Degla knows he has a chance to win this one as he comes back from 7th position, working really hard. He gets through Bob Mikas. Mikas also with fresh rubber.
And Brian Yosik doing the crossover here as we come out of turn 2, going back to the lead. These guys with the fresher tires are able to run that bottom lane all the way around, and it's definitely the fastest way to go at the moment.
They're going to get the white flag lap right now. Brian Yosik out in front. Is he going to lead to the white flag? He is. Working on the top side. There goes Big Joe Hassard. Will Hassard finish the pass? They do not. They're Cialis bathtubs out of 2. This is the final lap. It's Yosik on the inside. Hassard on the top side. Look at the run. They punch a huge hole for Michael Goodman. He gets back in the mix. They're in the middle between 3 and 4. Yosik seems to be in good position. The momentum now up on top for Hassard. Does he have enough time to get there? No! Brian Yosik wins the Midwest 200.
That was a great finish, great race for these guys. That was really exciting. Congratulations to Brian.
Michael Goodman, Justin Weaver, Pierre Degla go 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Degla was also one of those late stoppers. Rounding out your top 10, Rahula, Mikas, Garen, Branch, and Woody Mahan. Ho, ho, ho. Well, the racing might be over here at Michigan, but our broadcast is far from done. What we're going to do right now is take a short break, have a sip of hot tea with lemon, but we will be back to bring you the Plasma Tracks post-race show where we'll run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before putting a lock on the gate. Don't go far! Welcome back to the Midwest Simulations 200 and the Plasma Tracks Victory Lane post-race show. We're going to show you how the sausage is made here at GSRC in honor of Von Hansen's meet. Amjad Yaman was having some internet connections problems, so here at GSRC, we have a depth on the bench as we brought in Sean Ambrose to do the director's duty, and that's how we were able to bring you the rest of that race with that beautiful, smooth stream that Sean was able to provide. Unfortunately, we had a choice between a smooth stream and no graphics or a choppy stream with sponsored graphics. We're going to go with the smooth stream. So from here, just imagine the beautiful Plasma Track Victory Lane graphic being shown to you right now. You've seen it before, and you know what that means? If you're struggling for something to find for the person who has everything, what do? Well, I got the website for you. Plasma-tracks.com. They not only do they produce original racetrack wall art, but motorsports trophies, home decor, and motorsports fabrications are also available. I personally am going to call them and see how much it would cost to get an entire wall sized of my signature for soup. I want my signature on the walls. I'm telling you, words cannot do justice to the uniqueness of their wares. The only way to fully appreciate their artwork is to see it for yourself. But I'm warning you, I warn you every week. Are you listening to me? One visit, and the next thing you know, you'll be trying to convince your spouse why you need a Plasma Track wall art hanging in your home. My gosh, everyone should have one of those. See it all at plasma-tracks.com. And you know what? There's more. We have a promotional code, LRS 2018. You get off not 5, not 10, not 15, 25% off your order. My gosh, how can you pass up on that? Let's go ahead, not give you 25%, but the entire 100% of the finishing order for this, what is our title here? We are the Midwest Simulations 200. So many sponsors to remember. Here's a man with the sponsor HPP on the side of his car. HPP Simulations, proud to put their driver on the front. It is Brian Yazik. He got the new tires, took the low line, and brought it to the checkered flag first. Big Joe Hasser did the same strategy, had to outdueled for the win on the last lap. Michael Goodman, Justin Weaver, and Pierre Nightingale round out your top 5. The back half of your top 10, James Kerhula, the Von Hansen's meat machine of Bob Mike is in 7th. Dandy Dan Guerin, oh man, he was a great car, but he did not stop for that pit stop. Tires were his Achilles heel. He finishes in 8th, just ahead of Joe Branch. Woody Mahan rounds out your top 10. Richie?
Coming up the 11th through 20th, we got Adam Blocker, who got shuffled back, and he didn't pit as well, so those tires kind of bit him. Next to him would be Matthew Mercer. Behind him, Tony Schoen, then Dustin Wardlow. Tyler Graff brings up 15th. Ian Adams, 16th. Chris Lanini in 17th. Robert Bluen, 18th. Samuel Ryman, 19th. And Scott Johnson rounded out the top 20.
The Hacker Boys, Ron and Ken, finished 21st and 23rd, respectively, bookending Scott Bolster, who comes home in the double duck spot. Those drivers, the last cars on the lead lap. Starting in 24th, in the beautiful red, white, and blue patriotic American painted car was Ed King Tutwiler in 24th, just ahead of George Enzaldo, Jack Bogan in 26th. 27th and 28th go to Brandon Limpkeman and Vincent Blumenthal. 29th position was David Cordy. Then we get guys who really had trouble, Jason Galvin and Chris Stouffer. We saw what happened to them. They finished for Galvin, a disappointing 30th, for Christopher, 31st. Michael Gray comes home in 32nd, 33rd, and 34th goes to our rookie leader, Stefan Larkamp. Will he still be leading the rookie standings when we come back next week? I don't know. Isaiah Dupree in 34th. All right, 34 drivers took the grid, those 34 names. Let's go ahead to our interview booth right now and see who we can talk to. Well, we can talk to our race winner. Let's bring him in right now. Brian Yazik. Brian, I'll be honest with you. Richie and I said, no time for tires. There's not enough time, but you knew best.
Yeah. It was funny. In the pre-race, we're sitting there talking on TeamSpeak between me and Woody and Dave, and I said, watch, this is going to come down to Kentucky again a couple weeks ago, and there's going to be that weird decision where you're going to have to pit or not pit, and then we all kind of laughed about it, and I let it go, and then I saw everybody wreck behind me, and I said a 4-letter word that I can't repeat on the air. I thought back to Kentucky. I thought back to how this place, you know, kind of some experience here in other forms of racing. This place just chews tires up. So I knew that getting tires was probably the right call. Was it going to be one of those situations where, you know, I pit from the lead and cost myself one? I was probably never going to live with myself on that one, but it worked out. Like, I can't believe how good 4 tires felt there. And we were just able, I mean, Dave and I were watching or reviewing the tape post-race, and he goes, you lifted like twice.
I have a lot to talk to you about this one. So obviously you were confident in your strategy, but let's go to after the pit stop, and you come out in 10th. How were you feeling then when you saw what was ahead of you? You're saying, okay, I'm okay, or I got work to do?
A little bit of both. You know, you have to tell yourself you're okay, so you don't, you know, get yourself all psyched out and, you know, and kind of talk yourself out of it. But I knew we were okay. I knew that the car was good. You know, I learned a lot in the practice race last night. I learned really what it boiled down to is even that, and in the race earlier, I knew if I was in that spot coming to one to go, where I wanted my car to be. And by the iRacing gods, it worked exactly as I anticipated it would. And, you know, once we got that run into 3, you know, I knew what I wanted to do, and it just worked out. But the whole time I was praying for no caution, no caution. I got to thank Joe, though. He's a hell of a guy to race against. We raced against each other for 2 years now, and I don't think we've even so much as touched fenders, maybe once. But we got clear of some of those other guys, and we were back a little bit, and we kind of slingshotted each other. And as soon as we got to that pack, I knew it was on.
Yeah, well, that's the final point then. That was great. You got to the front, but unfortunately, you brought the guy who did the same strategy with you, Joe Hazard. Then you had to outduel him there for that last lap. It really just felt like a flip of a coin to me. You came out the best of it. Great battle in the end.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, in the race last night, in the practice race, I was kind of experimenting with some runs and how to get around guys and kind of things like that. And I really kind of stumbled on something that really worked well. So I knew if the situation arose where I wanted to be. And, you know, we came off of 4 with coming to 2 to go. And Joe didn't give up the bottom. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I was able to kind of side draft, and I think it's actually, I'm looking at the replay right now. I think that's what we're watching right now. So I hung out to the outside and had to kind of stifle a little run from Garen back there. But I knew at the bottom, the way that he was entering that corner, he wasn't gonna make the apex right. He wasn't gonna make the exit right. So once he got that exit, I knew cut back underneath, and it was game on. So that's just. Experience teaches you a couple things, and sometimes dumb luck teaches you a couple things too. Here we go, slow-mo. Watch that. Look at it. Here we go. Yeah.
It's a rare case when Lionheart doesn't put on a good show on one of these ovals, and they live up to it today. Congratulations on the win. Good luck the rest of the way.
Hey, thank you. Just want to give a quick shout out to HPP Simulation for sponsoring the series, sponsoring our car. We got another one, Mark. Got with the drop and some bad luck to some of our competitors. I think we're going to end up real good in this points deal. You know, everybody at Lionheart, clipping that apex. I'm forgetting everybody. Viva Motorsports, a bunch of guys that we got. Thanks to you guys for hanging out. Thanks to Joe. You know, we basically that was a hold our Big Mac moment. And I want to be thankful to my wife too. You know, freshly married. So that ring isn't slowing me down. In fact, I think it's helping me on the left-handers. So that's working out real nice, you know. So that's a nice little present to myself. I could sit here and talk about it the whole damn night. Y'all know about it. So thank you, everybody. HPP Simulation, Loud Pedal Motorsports, everybody that makes this deal go on. That was awesome. That's how you race.
Brian Yazik, our winner here today. Get him out of here. Somebody close the door on that guy. Let's bring in Richie. I'll let you talk to the man who finished the second. This is Big Joe Hazard.
Yeah, Joe, I want to say that you put on quite a show coming up from 17th all the way up to second. You were my favorite. I picked you to win, and then when I saw you and Brian come in for tires, I had my doubts, but it kind of worked out for us or for you. So how did that work out for you on the track?
I knew during the practice race that tires were important after about 6 laps. There was a lot of fall off in the corners. So I was pretty confident that we were going to get up there. Once I saw that gap between like 7th and 8th, and I got really scared on that restart. But Brian liked the low side the whole race. I liked the high side. So it was, I thought I would get a run off of him on the high side coming out of 4, and I needed probably about 100 feet to get there. But it was fun. I was hoping to win this one, but there's always Indy. I came close last year there too, so hopefully we'll find victory lane one more time.
Yeah, well, you came within 16 thousandths of a second to win this one, so it doesn't get much closer, but kind of fooled us on those tires because the way you guys were racing in the middle stints, you guys were all over the place just passing each other, so we couldn't really tell if there was a drop off. But when you guys got back out on that green flag, you were able to hold that inside line, and I'm sure you were praying that a yellow flag didn't come out. But once you guys got up there, you and him fought it out right to the end.
Yeah, there's always chance of that yellow coming out. I wish there was better in-car telemetry. You definitely would see that there. We were past each other on the straightaways, but the corners were another story. That was there was definitely some lifting going on to get through those. So, yeah, I thought it was going to spread out more based on what we heard going into the week, but we got some good practice laps in, and once everybody got together, I knew there was going to be 5 or 6 strong cars, and we all raced each other a lot. So, there's a lot of trust and a lot of give and take, and I think it made for a good race.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really exciting for us, and hopefully exciting on the broadcast too. Well, congratulations on that second place. Just barely got that first. And like you said, we have Indy coming up, and maybe you can swap that up on Brian. So we'll see you then. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Oh, I just want to thank Brian for having a good race with me. And thank my teammates. It's too bad that Jason got done a little bit dirty there towards the end, but I thought we were putting together a good run, and I think we teach each other a lot. So I just appreciate how those guys help me. I think I helped some of them on the ovals, and they helped me a little bit on the road. So it's a good partnership, and hopefully we can do some big things and get back on the top of that team championship.
Well, awesome. Like I say, congratulations. And that's Big Joe Hassard, everybody.
Good run from Big Joe as he comes home in second. Now we're going to be able to talk to Michael Goodman. Michael, you have a copy?
I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
I got you.
Awesome.
Michael, second thoughts?
No, I tell you, I feel like I won even though I finished third. My teammate Justin and I, we stayed out on that last pit stop, and we pitted like 5 laps after everyone else did. And granted, we lost ground when it went green, but when that caution came out and I saw those cars pits, and I was like, you know what, this looks pretty good. I mean, we only had about 9 laps on those tires, and I was like, yeah, this is possible, but it wasn't. But like I said, Justin and I, we had phenomenal finish, and it was just fun all around. And congrats to Brian Yazik on the second win, and to Joe finishing second. It was just a blast. Well,
you put on a good show. You got the pole, but I guess a pole here doesn't really mean that much. But if it takes some of the sting out of it, Richie and I both thought there's no way to come from behind getting those tires. So we were with you. You put on a great show. Good luck the rest of the way.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Michael Goodman had the car to beat today. Let's go ahead. I do these races, and I always am hungry at the end of it, and now I know why, because I had to call the Van Hansen's Meat Machine was having a good run. Richie, talk to Bob Mikas.
Bob Mikas, the man with the coolest helmet out there and the coolest sponsor, but you're a bigger mover of the race, coming from 24th to 7th. You came in with those guys that got tires. Did you think you had a chance to get up to the front like you did?
I definitely did. If it was any more than, I would say, like 5 laps to go in the race, then I probably would have stayed out. But tires at the beginning of a run are just such a big deal with this track and this setup that just it was just too big of a risk to take to not take tires.
Yeah, it definitely looked like you get down on the bottom lane and just kind of work those guys over. So congratulations on bringing yourself all the way up to 7th spot, and we will see you at Indy.
Hey, Bob, before you go, it's Soup here. I've been plugging those pretzels at Von Hans. What are those pretzels called, those flavored pretzels? Do they have a special name for the guys who want to order some of those up?
There's no special name for them. They're just our Von Hansen meats pretzels.
Oh, and they're the ones like with the seasoning on them, right?
Yeah, dill ranch, barbecue, mustard, cinnamon.
I don't know about the cinnamon, but the other stuff sounds good. All right. Hey, thanks, Bob. Have good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, guys.
Telling you, I'm ordering some right now. Cinnamon. No, I would pass on that one. Are we done? I need some help from the director here. Are we? Let's go ahead and close it up. Now, once again, we have no graphics, so you can imagine the beautiful logos that we put up here. First of all, we're going to thank everybody at, who would I want to thank? Well, I want to thank everybody at First Medical Equipment. They've been the source of medical supplies and equipment in Burlington, Iowa area for years because of their superior commitment to provide the absolute best in product quality and customer service. Richie?
We also want to thank Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add instant immersion to any game. Unlike a subwoofer that moves air and loses accuracy and force, Butt Kicker products move actual mass, producing a haptic immersion that's powerful and accurate. Butt Kicker products add that missing driver to car connection, bringing more realism and immersion to your sessions. See all the family of products at buttkicker.com and use the promo code LION20, the number 20, to get 20% off your next order.
If I'm going to be immersed in anything, I want it to be haptically. I just know that. Let's see. I got HPP simulations. When it's time to go sim racing, nothing beats the feel of a true hydraulic racing system from HPP Simulations, designed and manufactured in the United States of America, somewhere in the 48 continuous states there, not Alaska and Hawaii, I don't think so. On state-of-the-art CNC equipment, HPP hydraulic pedals and their accessories set the standard for simulation racing. For more information, please visit hppsimulation.com.
To contact any of these sponsors, as you would see on our screen right now, but you guys have seen them a few times already, go to the LionheartRacingSeries.com and click on 2018 sponsors, or read or scroll to the bottom where you can click on the company logo.
And, of course, you've seen it a million times, all the companies, equipment, and software that make this broadcast possible. Thanks to them. The iconic music that lets your ears alert your eyes you're watching a GSRC Productions comes courtesy of Eric Echolm and June Lalonde. See the screen to how to contact each of them.
The Lionheart IndyCar Series returns July 15th for the one and only Sunday event. From where else? The Brickyard for the iRace for Gage, Indianapolis 500. GSRC will be there to bring you all the action. We hope you join us. Sliding across the screen right now are some of our upcoming broadcasts, so check those out and mark them down in your calendar. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it all here at www.globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. And while you're here, if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe by simply hitting that button on this YouTube channel.
Finally, on behalf of the man whose voice you just heard, Sean Crackers, it would be Richie Hearn. Of course, Sean Crackers Ambrose is our director. Also, thanks to Amjad Yaman, who did his very best to keep those cyberspace gremlins under control, but they got the best of them and tied them up and carried them away. Good luck, Amjad, wherever you are. Dougie Beard, our camera artist. Thank you all for watching. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.